Hi everybody. So here it is, the evening of Mother's Day. What a fabulous day we had. If you watched today's video earlier, it was fantastic. Tim is back at the helm videoing us, and since we don't want to have a really big dinner tonight because I'm tired and it's Mother's Day, we're just going to do a quick thing. I have this wonderful recipe called Chinese style fried rice. And this beautiful recipe came from a former sister-in-law of mine, Laureate Winters. And so I love this recipe. It's a great recipe. She gave us a basic chicken, I keep calling it chicken because I want to put in chicken. Chinese style fried rice. And she gave this recipe to my daughter Danielle at her wedding shower. And so what we're doing here though is taking that basic recipe that she's given Danielle years ago, who in turn gave it to me, and we're making it our own. So we started out with a pretty good sized onion, as you can see, and the mushroom, and first, to save time, we've already done most of the cooking on this. As usual, I'm going to do this, right? We're all used to me doing this, right? With our garlic. And we're just going to, this only has another minute here or so. It actually is pretty ready to come out, I'd say. See how that onion's translucent? I don't know if the video is allowing you to see, but you can literally see through it. I can see through it with the knife, so that means it's ready to roll. There was a half a stick of butter on this because it was a pretty big onion. So half a stick of butter, pretty large, like this size onion. Good size. We always do sweet onions. 1 can, as usual, of mushrooms, and of course that dollop. I like to call it a dollop, if you will, of garlic. And so we're sweating them out like we always do, cook them down, sweating them out, and it is ready to be taken out. This is going to be step 1. Like I say, the recipe I got from Laureate Winters was fantastic, and it was basic, and then I was loving it, decided to make it my own. So when I make it, I don't make it the exact same way twice all the time. I always have mushrooms and onions, but I'll use whatever I have left over. I always put some meat in there. She doesn't put meat in the recipe. She just does it as a rice and kind of a basic thing, which is great because that's what you would get at the Chinese store, is a basic rice. But I like to make it a full meal all in one. So I'll show you how we do that. The next step is I'm going to take, I'm trying to see how many, I'm going to take most of this butter, so 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to stick it back in here, and I'm going to just scramble some eggs. Not scrambled eggs like if you're going to make scrambled eggs for breakfast. This is a different thing. You don't do anything special to them because you want the pieces of egg like you would have in stir-fried rice when you're going to the Chinese restaurant. So I'm not taking time to put milk or salt and pepper or anything in them. I just want some good egg pieces in here so that I'll have it in my stir-fried rice. So this is just about ready. I want the butter to be all melted. Then I'm going to go in here. I'm just going to crack a bunch of eggs. This is a good time to get rid of any egg components that you have from different recipes. Like I've got some whites sitting in here. I'm going to toss those inside as well. I'm just going to throw like 4, because that first one was a pretty big one. So I'm going to do 4 eggs because I love egg pieces in this fried rice recipe. I really like to bite into the egg pieces. And then I'm just going to move them around and get them all. I should have probably broken them up, but I never do. When I'm doing this stir-fried rice, I always just throw them in the pan and just kind of let them, because we're not, like I said, we're not making breakfast scrambled eggs here. It's a little bit different. And if you even wanted them more white, I suppose you could put like water in them or something too, if you wanted them to be even lighter than this. I just want big pieces of egg. So I'm going to let it alone for a second because it feels like I'm stirring it a little too much here. This is a really fun recipe. While we're waiting for this to boil up a little bit more, what we've done is today you saw that we had lobster, and then with the lobster we had chicken for the little kids. So Danielle took home a few pieces of chicken, and we kept 3 pieces. 1 piece is a little bit too much because I really just chopped up 2 good sized pieces here. And whoops, let's go back over here for a minute. that will be what we do. So we're gonna have chicken stir-fried rice, which is so much fun, and that's why I like more eggs, because if you add more ingredients to it, then one will get lost, it'll be too little. So I like to add, if I add like chicken and what I do, no matter what we have on, well, like if it was pork chops I made today, I'd be cutting up pork and it would be pork fried rice, chicken fried rice. I even put steak in here. I even put venison in here. Whatever meat I have, it's another. Remember that day we had that little small piece of meat and we did those wraps? Well, this is another way to use a small piece of meat. Just a fantastic way to use a small piece of meat, because you don't want it to take over the dish, because the dish is supposed to be stir-fried rice, but you want it to add to the dish so it's a full meal. I don't want this as a side dish. I want this as our meal. So, okay, so here you go. We're all set here. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. I'm going to put that last bit of butter in here and let it coat the pan. And now I'm going to add, now here's another fun thing. Well, that's melting down. You remember we had Chinese recently, and that's why we didn't end up cooking one night. We had Chinese. Chinese food always comes with what? White rice. Who knows what to do with the white rice? I always save my white rice. When they say, do you want it? I say, yes, thank you, because you're paying for it anyways. You're not taking any less off your meal if you don't take the white rice. So I always take it, and this is what I do with it. I either put it in soups, or I make this. And there you go. It's so awesome. So cool. You know, like again, repurposing. You pay for it. Your meal's not going to be less if you don't take that white rice. And all I'm going to do is just brown it a little bit. Just brown it. So I'm breaking it up because it was in that square for a while, and so it got square, but just breaking it up a little bit. And I might even add a little more butter to it, but I hope not. I just want to brown it up. That's all I want to do. I don't want it to be white. I just want to brown it up a smidge. After this is browned up, we'll add everything back in, and there's one more set of ingredients to put in. And so this takes like 5 or 10 minutes at the most. It's one of the very quick recipes to make. Again, all leftovers except your eggs. And then you saw I even had some leftover egg parts. I had some whites there I was going to use. I didn't know what I was going to use them for. I stuck them in there. And look at all this beautiful, basic scrambled egg that's going to go in here. I always put more eggs. She had 2 eggs, which is great if you're just doing the her recipe, which is fantastic if you want it as a side dish rather than a main dish. Her recipe was to have the rice, and you had to cook up. Well, yeah, I guess you could take a look at it just like that if you'd rather. That's her first page of a recipe there with all the ingredients, which is basic rice. It's not meant to be a main dish. And then that just tells you how to cook it afterwards. I took what was more or less a side dish and I made a main dish out of it. I've amped it up. Like I say, I use venison, steak, pork chops, anything left over. This is what I put in here. And I love to get the rice from the Chinese food place because, heck, then I don't have to make it. If you don't have any egg from the Chinese food place, all you do is if you're a purist and really want to use your long grain rice, go ahead, cook it up earlier in the day, let it boil because it takes like a half an hour, and put it in a container and make this later. But if you don't mind, minute rice. A cup of water and a cup and a third of rice with a little bit of butter in the water, and that's how you make your rice. She has it made with minute rice. And I've done that several times because, trust me, we don't get Chinese to take home very often. So I use the minute rice, but you can certainly use the long grain as well. And you can see how it's browning up a little bit here. I don't want it to scorch, so I'm moving it around, but see how it's not pure white anymore? It's the browning. Just going to let this happen for another minute. Then I'm going to add the chicken to it because I want to get the chicken, which was in the refrigerator, I want to get it warmed up to food temperature here. So now I'm going to do this because, see, I'm going to put this in here so that'll warm up at the same time the rice is still, I don't know, do you think that's enough chicken now? Ooh, could have cut that other one probably, huh? I'm going to keep browning the rice while I'm warming up the chicken, because remember now, everything here is cooked. When we put it together, we're just marrying flavors again. You know how we love to do that around here, using leftovers, marrying flavors. We're all about that. We're all about not throwing anything away. We're all about opening our refrigerator and saying, whoa, I can add that to a soup, or I can add that to a sauce I'm making. And this is very close to just adding the rest of the stuff in here. Now, her recipe calls for a third of a cup of soy sauce, a third of a cup of water with 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. I don't know how much soy sauce you like in yours, so I'm going to go with her recipe. Here's your third cup of water, and here is your 3 tablespoons. I'm going to turn it down some. 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. But if you feel like it's too dry, you know, just add more accordingly. So there you go. 1/3 cup of water with the soy sauce, but I think with all the eggs and stuff I've got, I might be wanting more soon. So I'm putting my eggs in now, and I'm going to put all the rest of the stuff together. So I'm going to hold this out in case I add a little bit more. This is such a good stir-fried rice, guys. And I really thank Lauriette for this recipe, because I love stir-fried rice from the Chinese restaurant. I always have, but I've never known how to make it. So when she gave me a basic recipe like that, well, she didn't give it to me. She gave it to Danielle, but Danielle did pass it on to me. Once she did, I was like, I can do so much with that and turn it into a full meal. And so that was what's so fun about it, is she shared what she had, and then we just built on it. And really, that's basically it. All I'm doing now is putting these flavors together. And as you can see, it doesn't look dry at all. It has a wet texture to it. So if it had looked dry to me, I would have probably done half of the third a cup of water, or even a third of the third of cup of water. And I would have added, with the third of the third a cup of water, I would have added a tablespoon of soy sauce. And then, you know, again, but I certainly would never do the third cup of water twice and 6, because see, you can see it's still wet. It's actually done. I mean, that is literally all. And look at this thick, wonderful. Wouldn't that be great if you got that from the Chinese restaurant when you get your whatever else, sweet and sour chicken or whatever else you get from there? What a wonderful, and I'm getting it off because I don't want it to be dried out. That's how easy it is. So you just, we just reused those eggs that we had sitting around, the egg whites with other eggs. We used this Chinese takeout white rice that we had on hand. We cut up our chicken and used it again, and basically all we had to get out of the cupboard was some mushrooms and cut an onion and a few more eggs. Very simple, very tasty. Give it a try. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.